Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another weekend video. How the hell that week goes so quick. This is Enda here, and come along for a ride. I'm going to run through the markets and give you my take for what that's worth. It's blowing a stonker of a storm here today, so we're all not only locked down but locked inside. So, hey, ain't that great? Anyway, so let's get into. Should I put an ASMR voice on? All right, let's get into the markets today. No, I won't do that. That's fucking stupid. All right, let's move on with the worst produced market wrap video on YouTube. Okay, this is Eurodollar. This is the pattern I'm following. The longer that this kind of sideways trade goes on, the more I don't like to say sure or convinced, but the more probable that we get a further run up into a second wave here. So that'd be wave C of wave 2. There's always the kind of fly in the ointment that maybe the previous high was wave 2, and maybe what you're doing right now is working down into a wave 3. But the sideways nature of this has gone on for far too long, I think, to regard this as a decline into a wave 3. Okay, so if we're expecting wave C, what's this internal pattern looking like? Okay, this is the hourly chart. You can see here wave A up, that recent high, 111.48 or 111.50, call it. And then we have 3 waves down in A, 3 up in B. You could call that 3 down in C. 3 up in D, and 3 down in E. So an ABCDE pattern. On the off chance that we have, let's get back into focus. So the low at 107.74 is what I'm calling wave E of B. So wave B is complete as a triangle, so we should rally out of that. And we have, and it looks like we're, maybe that was either the wave 2 is completing now as a large expanded flat, or we're getting a larger kind of a zigzag or a flat pattern developing here in wave 2. We'll just have to see about that. Tentatively last night I was looking at that 109.36 level as maybe the low for wave 2, but obviously we've broken down out of that today. All in all, the thesis I think still stands. The only other caveat I might have would be if we get the triangle continuing, so wave D and E continuing over towards Monday or Tuesday next week. And again, that would complete a triangle in wave B, so we should still create higher lows and we should still rally in wave C. So that's the thesis. We need to see a completion of this decline right now, though, before and a turn higher. Where would you say? I mean, if we start pushing back up towards 110 again, I think then 113 is pretty locked in. If not locked in, far more probable. So let's see how that goes. Completion of the triangle, we should be running higher into a third wave early next week. And we have to see that 107.74 level continue to hold. Okay, let's get on to cable. We still have this, wave 4 moving down into a fifth wave possibility underway. I mean, the price in general, we did get a rally this week, so in general, I'm looking for kind of a 1-2-1-2 pattern. That's possible. I'm also have this on the 4-hour chart. I have this alternate count here for a larger degree triangle. So that would, if that was the case, then cable would kind of just swing sideways between 130 and 120 or so for the next 6 months, maybe. Would that be 6 months? Sorry, maybe 3 months. Sideways over the summer, and just be range bound basically. We'll see how that goes. That's the alternate count. The fourth wave moving down into a fifth wave. I mean, we have moved lower. It's not the best internal pattern ever, but it's still possible. So let's get down into that. So that could be the wave 4 high there. We could be looking at wave 1, 2, and a 1, 2, maybe. If that's the case, then we should see a rally to complete wave 2 early next week. I was kind of expecting that today, but we've broken down, but still in a corrective manner. It still seems to be, a corrective decline into today's lows or this afternoon's lows. It would be nice to see a kind of a run out of this today before the market closes this evening. We'll see how that goes. In general, A, B, C up in wave 2, completing by Monday evening, maybe Tuesday, and then a turn down into wave 3. I have a kind of not a hard stop, but let's say a level where the probability swings back in favor of the alternate count again would be if we get a break of that wave 2 high, that 124.66. Okay, let's get on to dollar yen. Again, this triangle idea, which is a strange one, really. I mean, if you look at the fact that the scenario that we're in, or the economic kind of realm that we now exist in, which is print forever and debase forever, but what the currency markets seem to be telling us is either the dollar is going to strengthen wildly, or we just range forever and continue to range. So there hasn't been any major, let's say, impact on the FX market over the last couple of months. Okay, I'm looking at a large B wave completing in dollar yen, and we should be moving higher into an even larger C wave. So that would be the stronger dollar, horrendous economic outlook scenario. And if this stronger dollar continues in dollar yen, I mean, Japan would be very happy with that. That's all they've tried to do over the last few years, is just to kill the yen. If you were China, stronger dollar, as far as I can see, will kill you, because they have serious dollar funding issues, as I have come to learn. So the stronger dollar, it looks to be where we're heading in general. So I've said in general too many times today. Okay, so the pattern out of the recent low, which would be early May, that'd be, I'm looking at that as 5 waves up. So 1, 2, 3, possible triangle 4, and wave 5 into this week's high. We hit that previous wave 2. We broke out above that interim high, wave 3. And we seem to be correcting off that high now. So we're looking for 3 waves down. Whether we have that in place right now or we get it earlier on next week, given that we could see a little rally in, we could see a rally against the Atlantic pairs. Maybe that will translate over to a weaker dollar yen early next week. We'll have to see on that front, day by day, But if we do get a corrective scenario completing next week, then I would be looking for a reasonable move higher in wave 3. So that'll be pushing us up towards 110 off a kind of a 107 base. So if we correct down in wave 2, down to that previous 4th wave in around 107, and that's if we get the kind of lower C wave scenario. I mean, we did break the wave A low, so that'll be this morning's low, or the overnight low did break below the previous wave A at 107.32. So in theory, this could be wave 2 complete, but I just don't. My mind isn't there just yet. We could get a larger B wave, and it might be smart to allow for maybe a larger B wave and a larger C wave. And if that's, I'm kind of thinking on the fly here, excuse me, but if that's the case, if we get a flat in wave B and then we get a 5 waves down into wave C, we find support at the previous triangle, and then we move higher into a third wave. But 107 seems to be the kind of glaring support level for me at the moment. And if we get kind of an impulsive move off this level, then it looks like we should rally into a third wave by late next week anyway. Okay, let's move on. This is stock market. This is the 4-hour count that I'm working with. Again, we seem to be hitting a kind of a hard stop around the 62% retracement level. And we are weaker this morning, even though the futures sold off. We got a bounce back at the open, and now we're weaker again. It seems to be, if it's not a consolidation phase, it could be the beginning of a kind of a turn lower again. And I know I have been looking for that turnover, and I know it hasn't come just yet. But hold your horses. This is a big move that I'm expecting to hit us. And if it happens, it'll be the bankruptcy move. It could be a huge bankruptcy move. I did have an apocalyptic thought earlier on this week, and the thought that was running in my head earlier on this week, and I didn't mention it in the nightly updates, but I had thought that maybe just maybe we're running at 1 degree higher. I have been kind of hardly bearish, obviously, but I have been kind of going easy on the Dow, expecting 3 waves down in a large A wave. I'll pull around here. Sorry. 3 waves down in a larger A wave, and then maybe 3 waves back up towards that 25,000 level in a larger B wave. But the longer that this kind of, let's say, arching top takes in a B wave, the more likely it is that maybe we're running at a 1 degree higher than I had thought we were. So maybe we are pulling ahead the collapse. Wouldn't that be interesting? If this was a larger B wave, then we would move down. I should get out to the daily chart, really. If this was a B wave at 1 degree higher, so we'll go B, and then wave C could pull us down. I mean, this could be the run into the 1933 lows or 32 lows. We could easily fall back to below 10,000 or more if this is a large C wave. And the longer that this sideways move goes on, the more likely that that alternate scenario is actually what's happening. I think we can rule this out now. Anyway, suffice to say, wave B at 1 degree or another is topping, and wave C at 1 degree or another is coming. Okay, and I know I've said that for probably the last month now, but in my defense, the market has gone nowhere but sideways anyway. So, and the more intense moves have been to the downside. Okay, and you can see here on the 4-hour chart how this like decidedly bearish continual lower highs in MACD and RSI are playing out. Let's see on the daily chart, we're turning down in a pretty reasonable pace on the daily chart as well. So on the hourly, there is that alternate count. This hourly chart. I'm just kind of looking at this final move here. There is the alternate count that would allow for this to be a correction and then one pop higher in wave 5 of C. But for the moment, we haven't done that in the Dow. So I'm looking at wave 1, A and B and C running, or an expanded flat wave C, or sorry, expanded flat wave 2. And maybe this weakness is running lower into that third wave down. These two counts are at a point where they're more or less converging timeline, the alternate count, I wouldn't expect any more than a bounce for a day or so and then a fall to begin wave 3, or sorry, it would be wave 1 in that stage. Right now, this process has to turn lower. It has to make some inroads to the downside, even by this evening, for this immediately bearish count to kind of resurface. But I'll revisit that tonight in the update. Okay. Again, I'm decidedly bearish. But when have I not been? Well, actually, I wasn't bearish at the low in wave A, so I was actually decidedly bullish, allowing for a run up to these levels at the low in wave A. So you can go back and check the videos if you like. Next week, it could be the moment that this rally dies and that we get a run lower in wave C. Okay, and you better hope that you're covered. Okay, so gold. This is a 4-hour chart in gold. I've been kind of playing around with a few different scenarios in gold over the last few weeks. So far, we're still working higher. You know, we've hit, what's that? This week we have hit probably 4-year highs, coming on 5-year highs now in gold, and I don't think that this is done. Going by this large count on the weekly chart, I don't think it's anywhere near done. I think we have a C wave rally up above, 2,600, maybe 3,000 in gold to come. But I think it could be choppy to get there. And this is a very long-term play. Okay, let's get into the daily chart. This is the one alternate on the daily chart that could possibly be playing out. This would be where we have wave 1 and 2 in blue here done. We could count 5 waves up into 1 and 2, 5 up, 3 down in wave 1 and 2 in red, and maybe this is just wave 3 of 3 now beginning. Here's another alternate count. We have wave 3. Well, the main count I'm working with is wave 3 is done, and wave 3 and 4 are done of the larger wave 3, and now we're moving higher in wave 5 of 3. I haven't actually shown that here, so I shouldn't I? I'll do that tonight. Now the main question is what degree has that triangle traced out at over the last few weeks? So we had a nice kind of a contracting triangle. I was expecting it to be like a series of 1-2s, but the flush out of it would been to the upside anyway. So triangle, and we did break to the upside. We're holding above 1720 or the previous highs there, these internal highs. So that's pretty good this evening or this afternoon. For the moment, I'm kind of looking at this as a wave 1, 2, wave 3 of 3 into the recent, what would that be? The April highs. Wave 4 of 3 in a triangle, and now wave 5 of 3 is tracing out higher. And that'll be wave 5 of 3 of 5. So that would still suggest further upside in this wave 5, larger wave 5 in red. Now, the main alternate on this 4-hour chart would be where wave 4 in green is already done, and now we were running higher in wave 5 of 5. So it's a little less bullish, but it would still allow for, I think, a break above that 1920 high or a push up towards it to complete wave 5 of 3. But it doesn't really, in the short term, it doesn't really matter because I think we should still continue to push higher in either wave 3 of 5 or wave 5 of 3, if you could follow that. Right. Off the triangle, we have wave 4 in blue done, and now we're working on wave 5 in blue to complete wave 3. So that'll be wave 1, 2, 3. another correction in wave 4 up around the 1800 level, and then a pop up towards maybe 1900 again in wave 5 to complete wave 3. And then we'd expect another kind of a grinding correction to the side, or sideways, or maybe another triangle. A bit of a corrective move off that new. It should be a new all-time high in wave 3. So let's see how that plays out. But for now, we seem to have wave 1 and a 3-wave move down in wave 2 more or less complete. We're moving off that low. Doesn't look so impulsive right now, does it? We'll just have to see how that plays out on Monday. If we get a push above that interim 1755 level, interim high this week, that would suggest that maybe we're running higher into a third wave. Definitely, if we get a break of 1764 again, that will pretty much confirm that wave 3 of 5 is underway. So next week, it would be, well, today anyway, I want to see if this overnight low holds. If we got 1716 holding and we continue higher, that's good news. I'd watch that interim high there at 1754 as an initial signal that wave 3 is underway. Okay, crude oil, we were looking for a top in wave 4. We tentatively kind of pushing towards a top right now. I didn't actually believe that we would break that $30 handle again, but here we are. We've pushed above it, and maybe we're pushing down back below it again. I was saying during the week that an initial move below 30 again would be a pretty strong hat tip in favor of a large degree fifth wave beginning. We got an early sell-off in the futures this morning, a bounce as the trade opened in the US, and now we seem to be selling again. 5 waves down is the initial kind of, let's say, stamp of approval for the downside. We seem to have 3 waves down, maybe, done at this morning's lows so far. We did break the previous 4 waves, so that was good. Break below that 31 level was pretty good. We rebounded pretty strongly, and hopefully, with a bit of luck, we can sell down again to create a clear 5-wave pattern lower. Again, I'm looking at that kind of that $30 level to break in wave 1, and then over the following few days, early next week maybe, 5 waves down, complete 3 waves up, bearish lower high, and maybe that'll lead the way for a sell-off to begin again in crude oil. It is interesting enough that we're heading towards contract rollover again. So next week, I must find out what date that is. All right, so next week, looking for a bearish lower high in wave 2 to set up for an opportunity maybe down into wave 3. And again, these wave labels could be moved up by 1 degree depending on how the action plays out. Okay, let's get into S&P. S&P, pretty much the same story. We've come to a halt at this 62% retracement level for the last pretty much a month now. 3 weeks going on, 4 weeks now. We're just bouncing up against it, that 3,000 level, and we're failing. I still think this is a B wave. The same scenario, actually. The alternate scenario in the larger chart on the Dow. I mean, this could be moved 1 degree higher. We could be approaching that complete, liquidation event again, or that complete, let's say, bankruptcy event in a large degree C wave, rather than allowing for some sort of midterm kind of reflation event in a large B wave. Should I point at the 2009 lows? Maybe. That's kind of the level that's at the back of my mind anyway. Below 1,000. That's a bit scary though. for the moment. Okay, so let's get into the 4-hour chart. I still think we've worked on 3 waves up, and I still think we should be heading lower anytime soon. Let's say I can allow for this, very choppy action over the last few days. This could still be a larger degree 4th wave, and maybe we'll get one pop higher, as I said, in the Dow in wave 5. Unless this pattern really clears out and we get a flush to the downside. So then, if that happens, I think this count is good. If that doesn't happen early next week or later on today, then I think it would be foolish not to consider this as a larger, let's say, 335, maybe 333. It's tough to count this, actually, to be honest. But I'll just have to allow that for us to be some sort of complex wave 4, and maybe we get a pop up in wave 5. For the moment, we're looking weak. That initial kind of indicative support level there at wave 1 lies at 28.52. So I want to see a break of that level pretty soon. Obviously, a break below these previous interim fourth wave lows, back around 27.60 down towards 27.20. That would be superb, and that would be a definite. I think that would definitely tilt the probabilities in favor of a long-term turn down in wave C. But for now, it's definitely just a wait and see. I mean, the S&P seems to be in a global scenario. The S&P is just attracting so much capital that it's just the last horse left, basically. Nobody wants to touch anything else, so we have all this capital running towards it. What can you do? It may prolong the pattern, but I think the outcome is still the same. So preserve for one more week, and let's see if we can get 5 waves down. If I'm sounding tired, that's probably because I'm tired of looking at a levitating stock market. Okay, silver. Wave 1 is completing. We seem to have a kind of an expanded flat, maybe 3-wave correction in a final 4th wave within wave 1. So let's get down into that. The hourly chart, you can see here, expanded flat, possibly wave 4, and we're running higher this morning, maybe up into a wave 5 of 1. If you look at that 4-hour chart, you can see this could be 1, 2, 3, some sort of triangle 4th, and then a nice pop higher in wave 5. So this will complete one wave up, and then we'll probably sell down again back towards this shoulder of support here in wave 2. So maybe we hit, the upper 17s, 18 maybe to complete wave 1, and then we sell down again in wave 2 back to about 1460 or 1450 or so. So that's the kind of outlook for the next few weeks, maybe the next month or so. For the moment, in the short term, we still seem to be completing 5 waves to the upside. It looks like wave 5 of 5 has to pop one more time. Resistance lies up at 1890, so it would be nice if we got a break of 1890 before selling down into wave 2, but we'll see how that works out. The minimum target would be, for a break of, we'll come back here, for a break of that 1760 level, so 1762 in this B wave high. After that, the upside would probably be, well, it depends on how the pattern unfolds, but the upside is limited. I think wave 1 is completing soon enough, and then we'll sell down in wave 2. This can change, obviously, but that's the most probable outcome for the moment. Okay, wow, just look at that now. Here we are. Actually, I did want to add in just a quick look at Germany and the FTSE. You can see here Germany, it's sporting the exact same scenario as both US stock indexes. We haven't broken to a new high, so it's probably more in line with the Dow at the moment, but this could be a corrective move before we push to one new high. Maybe we make that 62% retracement. Maybe we make 11,500, and then we turn down again. But this is a topping formation again, and FTSE, it rallied, but it's not as strong as its Atlantic cousin. We at the highs back at the end of April, we did push towards 50%, but we've sold off pretty convincingly off that. So I think this is probably a 1-2 wave. The 3-wave, maybe an expanded flat in wave 2, and we should be moving down into a 3rd wave, especially if you get a break of those previous lows. So you're looking at 5,600, 5,660 as a pretty important low on FTSE. Okay, that is it. My throat is now dry. I hope you all have a nice weekend. I hope you all can, let's see if we can stay cheery, stay upbeat, stay, I don't like to say positive, but hopeful. Sometimes it's foolish just to have a positive outlook against the unprecedented and, well, not unprecedented. I mean, the world has gone through worse, but unprecedented in our lifetimes. The scenarios that are playing out right now are reasonably unprecedented for us, but we can still stay hopeful. I mean, if you lived, back during the Roman Empire, things weren't great for you unless you were a Roman, and things weren't great for you unless you were an upper class Roman, really. The rest of the world just had to suffer underneath complete tyranny. So at least us here in the comfortable Western world, we don't suffer under complete tyranny, and we can still go about our daily lives despite this virus, which is infecting not only our bodies but our way of life. But I can still remain hopeful. Thank God for that. Have a good weekend, everybody. Be good. Be good to each other. Hey, let's be good to each other anyway. God bless. I'll see you on Monday. And for those of you who are subscribers, God bless. I'll see you tonight. Bye-bye.